Your four favorites are Oppenheimer, Carrie, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and Vanilla Sky. I was surprised you didn't have Inception marked as watch because I think this movie is perfect for you. Like Oppenheimer, it was directed by Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy is in it, but it's also about lucid dreams like Vanilla Sky. Dunkirk, like Oppenheimer, was directed by Christopher Nolan, has Cillian Murphy in it, and takes place during World War II. Tenet was also directed by Christopher Nolan, is a sci-fi thriller like Vanilla Sky, and it has a reference to Oppenheimer, the person, not the movie. Instead of recommending documentaries about Oppenheimer or other movies about the Manhattan Project, I wanted to recommend at least one other biopic, and for some reason one of the first movies that popped into my head was The Aviator, which is kind of a coincidence because Christopher Nolan did an interview with the New York Times about Oppenheimer, and he talked about how he wrote a script about Howard Hughes that never got made because he did it around the same time that Scorsese made this movie. I also think you'd like A Beautiful Mind, which coincidentally also references Oppenheimer. Again, the person, not the movie. The Imitation Game is another biopic involving math and science that takes place during World War II. But if you're more interested in movies about nuclear weapons instead of biopics, then you should check out Failsafe. Chronicle, like Carrie, is about a bullied teenager with telekinesis. Some other coming-of-age horror movies or movies that use horror conventions as a metaphor for puberty, like Carrie, that I think you might like are Ginger Snaps, Raw, Phenomena, The Craft, and Spontaneous. The protagonist in this movie even dresses as Carrie for Halloween. The combination of Carrie and Fast Times makes me think you'd like Jawbreaker, which also has a couple references to Carrie in it. Since you like Fast Times, I think you'd like Dazed and Confused, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, American Graffiti, and Risky Business, which stars Tom Cruise, who was also the star of Vanilla Sky. Speaking of Vanilla Sky, I think you should check out Open Your Eyes because Vanilla Sky is a remake of this movie and Penelope Cruz is in both of them. And since Vanilla Sky is a sci-fi movie starring Tom Cruise, another sci-fi movie starring Tom Cruise is Edge of Tomorrow, which also stars Emily Blunt, who was also in Oppenheimer. Speaking of sci-fi movies starring Emily Blunt, another sci-fi movie she was in that I think you might like is The Adjustment Bureau, which also stars Matt Damon, who was also in Oppenheimer.